You're listening to Shoe In, covering the ins and outs of all things footwear, from sneakers to heels, loafers to slippers, and every type of shoe in between. Brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear.
Hello, Shoe and Show listeners. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the world's greatest shoe business podcast. I'm your host, Matt Priest. I'm joined today by Sandi Mine. Sandi, you're my partner in crime today. Thanks for joining me. How are things on your end?
Things are great. We're way into fall now and heading into an exciting Fanny Market Week in a few weeks' time, and things are looking good for 2025. So I'm doing great, and I'm thrilled to have on as our guest Jerry Breig from LaMO Sheepskin. Welcome, Jerry.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you being here. I've known you for quite some time, and I am thrilled that your company has finally made the big leap and joined FDRA as members, and you have so much going on, and we'll get into all of that. But let's start off, as we normally do, with asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself and about how you entered the shoe market and what your shoe story is.
Yeah, I probably have a little bit of an interesting story. I started in the footwear industry, kind of probably not in the way that most people do. I grew up skateboarding in LA, in the San Fernando Valley. So I'm a Valley guy, born and raised. Worked at a little skate shop, in Granada Hills, California. And we used to have a lot of professional skateboarders that came in and supplemented their income by trading in some of their product. This was in basically the mid 90s. In the mid 90s, like, we couldn't get enough skate footwear. Vans, DC, Etnies, some of these big skateboarding brands just didn't understand the demand that they were going to have. So the owners of the store decided that we were going to start a shoe brand. So so we from point A to point Z, we started a shoe brand with some of these relationships we built from the professional skateboarders. We put together an amazing kind of legendary team of skateboarders. They'd all had their pro models put out, through the years. But yeah, that was 1995. So it's almost my 30-year anniversary in the footwear industry. I was in action sports footwear for, probably half of my career. And then, I came over to this company in about 14 years ago. So it's been a pretty fun ride, and obviously very different from skate shoes. But I thank skateboarding for kind of getting me into this side of the world, and it's been a fun ride.
That is unbelievable. And the reason why I think your story, Jerry, is super informative of how you approach your job is that it is, if you're in like a one-off skate shop in Southern California and you go from that to creating your own brand, those are two different worlds. And I'm sure you had a lot of learnings as you propped up your own brand and started to push that out that really established you and build out your skill set for what you're doing now. Is that a right amount?
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely trial by fire. I mean, we were a bunch of kids, this starting a brand because we saw, white space, right? We needed product. And the owner of the company, the founder, he had a business background. He graduated from USC and was pretty fresh out of college. But, the rest of us that joined were all just kids. I was a skate department buyer, and it's trial by fire. But I had some great mentors. Early in my career, worked with a gentleman named Mark Feig, who was one of the original Nike employees. Mark was a college roommate with Prefontaine at University of Oregon, and I really learned a lot from him.
That's like shoe royalty, man. You're
royalty. Yeah, so I learned a ton from him when it comes to like just the global landscape of operations and worldwide agencies, and just understanding the business of shoes, not just making cool stuff.
Very cool. And I know you're celebrating a big anniversary at the company, and you have a lot that you're working on. And I know you have multiple brands, and you're doing some rebranding as well. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what's happening in your world.
Yeah, so LaMO Sheepskin Incorporated, we do house a couple brands, but our main company is celebrating its 30th anniversary this coming year. And with that, we decided to throw everything up in the air and rebrand our LaMO footwear brand. So we felt that it was time for something fresh and something new, and also a little bit of a change of direction. So we've historically been, a winter boot and slipper company. We feel like we've evolved as a company. Our employees are demanding something different. So we're taking a little different approach to footwear and really going to an aesthetic of, we're always been a comfort-based brand. And so comfort is definitely going to be the focus, but we wanted to really bring in some new styles and really a new focus, kind of, something for everybody, in the sense of you're really trying to focus on the wanderlust, the traveler, and somebody that, is on the go. So it's more about the journey and less about the destination.
That's great. And I know you have a couple of other brands as well. Do you want to share a little bit about what's happening on that side?
Yeah, for sure. So our Oomfies brand it's a toddler's base, kind of fun, athletic, a lot of really fun prints, really good price point product. We've been able to place it in a lot of major retailers. It's definitely something that's really growing for us, probably our fastest growing segment of our company. The toddler world is a totally different thing. We've built relationships with men's and women's buyers over the years, so it's been fun getting to know a whole different subset of buyers, and really it's a brand that we can have a lot more fun with, because with kids you just want something that is going to be durable, something that they can be happy about putting on. So ease of on and off is definitely a focus, and then really bright, fun colors and fun patterns. And we have a great designer that really has her keen eye for the market. So it's been really fun.
Jerry, let me ask you about the namesake of the new brand. Like, what's behind it? Is it Mykos? Is that pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah, Mykos.
Like, what's it mean?
Well, we wanted it to kind of wanted it to sound, fun and European and upscale. Mykos definitely doesn't have a direct meaning. It's not a real word. It's a melting pot of two different words, and basically it's I believe a Danish word and a Swedish word kind of combined, but both of them mean kind of cozy, and so Meek and Kos, it kind of blended together. And when we tried to come up with a name, this has been in the works for quite some time. We really wanted something that was ambiguous, that didn't really have a meaning, and you felt a way about it when you first hear it, but directionally it can take you in a lot of different places.
You know what I love about it, Jerry, is the fact that it's a new brand, right? It'll be fresh. And from what I understand, just reading up on this, is that you'll have 28 men's, women's, and kids SKUs available for wholesale spring and summer of 25. And you can totally correct me if that's wrong, but assuming that's correct, it's a fresh new brand. So there's a discovery aspect to it, but behind the scenes, it's operated by a company that knows what it's doing, right? Oftentimes we work a lot of emerging brands that are awesome, and I mean no harm or ill will towards them, but they're new and they don't know the industry, and they're putting up a website and they're figuring out sourcing is really hard. And they didn't want to go to China, but guess what? They're in China. And so there's all these things that are behind the scenes, make you a little nervous for an emerging brand that hasn't sourced and made shoes before. But this is not the case, right? You have a fresh, new, discoverable brand that is being driven and powered by a team that has a ton of experience, which is really critically important when you're dealing with retail customers.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that was kind of the kickstart that we needed, really, right? Our team has a ton of experience. I mean, there's several people in the company that have similar experiences to mine in terms of years, and having that background, having the tools in place already has been a huge advantage for us. And like I said, we've been working on it for a while, but it's really come to light over the last like 7 or 8 months, from concept to samples, and I think we're really excited about what we're going to bring to the market. A little bit of our heritage will still be in the line as a subset, but this is, we're building a whole new DNA, and because we want really a new customer base, but without leaving our old customer base behind. And I think one of our main focuses over the last, in my tenure, over the last 13 years with the company, we wanted LaMO Sheepskin Inc. to be an easy company to do business with, and I think that heritage really will resonate with buyers. They already know us, and I think that it's important that they know that they're going to be working with a team that they know and they can trust.
That's great. It's a nice clean slate, so you can really build out, right, beyond just winter product and beyond just slippers and even sneakers, right? You can build spring, and you can do. I think you were talking a little bit about the fact that you might even build onto accessories and things like that, so you can really make it as big as you want to go, and a little bit more of a lifestyle brand and whatnot. How are you going to kind of roll this out to the market? I'm assuming that you'll be at Fanny in full force, showcasing everything that you have for the new brand. But what else are you doing to kind of support that from a marketing effort, or any new trade shows or strategies?
Yeah, it's a full blitz of marketing. Obviously, we work with one of the top digital marketing agencies in the country, maybe in the world. Really building a plan, and how are we transitioning this, letting our current customer base know, like, hey, we're not going anywhere, we're just changing a little bit, or a lot of bit, and but there's still a place for them. So yeah, the marketing is definitely a huge part of it. On the show front, we'll be at pretty much all the major shows, or what have been major shows over the last 4 or 5 years, from Atlanta and Fanny, and we'll be at the IR show, Dallas market, like everywhere that we've been, and then of course a ton of regional shows. We do over 50 shows a year. So it's it's nonstop. Yeah.
That's a lot. What are you making of what's happening in some of the shows related to the outdoor retailer, or some of those shows that, there's kind of been a change in what's happening there? What are you making of that? Are you going to attend all and see what shakes out, or what's your strategy?
Yeah, it's been an interesting, outdoor retailer used to be one of my favorite shows to go to. Going way back to my days of skateboarding at the Action Sport Retailer show, outdoor retailer was kind of the evolution of that. And unfortunately, like I can't pinpoint why it lost a little bit of its luster during the pandemic, and that was really tough. But so we won't be at outdoor retailer, but we have transitioned to Switchfoot at TRE, and to still get that outdoor customer, and that's been something that we've been focused on, still touching that customer base. And we've always said, like, we want to be where the buyers are, and we want to be where our competition is as well, because we want to be seen next to them. And so it's interesting. I'd love for somebody grab kind of a West Coast show, because IR has been definitely trying to do their thing, and it's been a slower get go, and I know I'd love to see a resurgence at Magic as well. If we had some sort of dedicated footwear section. I walked the last show, and there was footwear everywhere throughout the hall, and it makes it a little difficult. So I'm on a watch and see on some of these big major shows to see how they evolve.
Let me ask you this, Jerry. Let's fast forward a year or two, and you look back, and we're having this conversation again. What do you hope for Mykos? Like, you talked about kind of how you were filling white space so many years ago when you built
Yeah.
that skate shoe out of Los Angeles because there was a need there. What's white space are you filling now, and kind of what do you hope to accomplish over the next year or two?
Yeah, I mean, I think the white space that we see is again in the world of travel and adventure. A shoe that is at a price point where a majority of people can afford to be into that, right? I travel a lot. I'm sure you guys travel a lot. Spend a lot of time in airports. I've seen an alarming number of people at airports wearing technical running shoes because they're super comfortable, right? And that's the white space that we feel like we can jump in and give somebody something that is, built for travel, that's built specifically for style and comfort, ease on and off. So, that's kind of our focus. And I really, in looking back 2 years from now, my main goal is to make sure that we have, you know, 95 to 100% customer retention from the transition. And then, I really expect, a whole lot more people to learn about us and a lot more space and some international expansion as well. We've mainly been a North American brand, dabbled a little bit internationally here and there in the UK and Japan. But yeah, I'd love to see some global expansion as well. And I feel like this new adventure, especially with the name feeling Greek, we can jump into some other international markets and see some growth there.
So will we see you at the Delta Airport or in Mykonos, or where are we seeing you next?
Well, I'll almost always be in a Delta lounge somewhere, but yeah, I mean, yeah, that's my hope is the next time we do this show in 2 years that I'm sitting on a beach somewhere.
That's awesome. I mean, I think about like some collabs or some Insta snaps where someone who has a lot of followers are wearing your shoes over with their feet propped up in the Mediterranean or hiking through, Iceland or, there's so many different things that your imagination can run wild when you have a
Yeah.
brand that's geared towards travel, casual comfort, as well as the whole travel landscape. I just think there's a lot there. Are you thinking about, I'm not a marketing guy. I'm just,
Yeah. I mean, definitely. And my pitch to my marketing director, Edna, is like, yeah, I'm going to go shoot all those photos myself. So, yeah. But yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that is definitely, the aspect. And the biggest part about it is, we're trying to do this and still be, in a value position for the consumer as well, right? So we've always historically been a value position brand. And I think that, value is not necessarily price. Value is, what you get for what you pay. And we feel like we're working with some great partners, from Neverwet and Ortholite and some really great, vendors that we're bringing really good quality product at a great value to the consumer as well.
That's awesome. I can't wait to get my hands on some. I mean, if people are listening to this, Jerry, and they want to get in touch with you and want to connect with you at one of the shows or just learn more, what's the best way about connecting with you and the company?
Yeah, so just, sales at Mykos.com, is the easiest way. I do get those directly. I would list my whole name there, but it always gets misspelled and mispronounced. So I'll just go with sales at Mykos.com is the best way. And like I said, I'll be present at all the major shows and our team will be there. And we'd love to sit and chat and know how we can help everybody's business be a little bit better.
That's awesome. Well, Jerry, I thank you for coming on. I thank you for joining FDRA. That means a ton to us. I know Sandy's been talking to you about that for quite some time, and it just seems like the perfect timing as you have your blank slate, as Sandy put it, and we have the opportunity to serve you as best we can. It's kind of new beginnings for all of us. So thank you for your trust and confidence and for your willingness to join FDRA as well. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're super excited. I mean, it's been something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and that, we almost did it right before the pandemic, but then the unknown, and the timing was right. We're really excited to work with your team and to, understand how, we can further place ourselves in the center of the footwear market.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jerry. Appreciate you coming on. Folks, this has been another exciting edition of the Shoe and Show program. I really appreciate you listening in and being an active participant in this conversation. You go to shoeandshow.com for all of our episodes, our entire catalog. You can go to FDRA.org to learn more about if you're not a member and you want to take the plunge like Jerry and the team at Mykos have done. Reach out to us. You can shoot a note at info@FDRA.org and make sure if you're interested in Mykos, sales@mykos.com. That's an option for you as well. Nevertheless, thanks again for listening. Until next time, Shoe and Show is out.
Shoe In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.